My name is John Barker, AKA your grandma's favorite pitmaster, AKA the Lord of the Smoke Rings, AKA the Barbecue King of the Nap, and I'm gonna make for you one of my absolute favorite dishes. I'm basically gonna make you a whole holiday meal, but I'm gonna do it for one person. Now, when I was a kid, I grew up in kind of a rough situation. So for me, like, the holidays were always the best times because we would get to come back from wherever we lived, whether it be Arkansas or Texas at the time. We would come back to Indianapolis and we would be with our family. While we were sitting around that dinner table, we were a family and we had forgotten about all the troubles that we had at home. Guys, so one of my absolute favorite things about a holiday meal is delicious rolls. So I'm gonna fresh bake some rolls here. I got some powder, some sugar, yeast, salt, powdered milk. I like it because I feel like it adds a little body, right? And of course, we're gonna dry whisk that together now. I remember my grandma, before holidays, she would just be cooking for days, man, and she'd be in there whipping up all kinds of treats and different things like that. I don't know if she actually made the bread from scratch, but I like to do mine. This is actually really easy and it's something that a lot of people just don't do now. After we get those dry ingredients whisked together, then I like to put in my wet boys. I like to drop one egg and most of the shell as well. Hopefully you can get yours back out if that happens. Get some lukewarm water in there, helps activate that yeast, add some moisture. Got some butter in here. Melt that butter, and then if you do yours straight from hand, that's fine, but you're a lunatic. I'm gonna use this sweet mixer my mom gave me. See how it's starting to struggle, so now you know it's time to switch it out and get to that dough hook. You gotta get your hands a little nasty here, and that sucks, but such is the way of the world, especially when you're baking. I'm gonna get my dough hook going till it hits the consistency that I want. In the meantime, I'm gonna wash this hand. I'm sure you guys can appreciate that. This is exactly kind of the consistency I'm looking. It's not sticking to the hook anymore. Now it is gonna stick to your hands. So what I like to do is spill the freaking olive oil everywhere. So we're gonna kind of just push that together. I like the way that feels. You kind of want a little bit of stickiness to the consistency. Now that olive oil is gonna help make it not stick, of course. And then we're just gonna kind of knead that around, get it balled up. So there's something to me that's almost kind of freeing about making your own bread. It's weird. I never thought that I'd be a 40-year-old dude in my garage kneading bread together, but look at that. There's something about that, like, you created this, you know what I mean? And that is the coolest thing about food, is when you drop something in front of somebody and they had no clue that you could do something like that. So let me get that wrapped up here. I'm gonna throw this in my oven with the light on, and I'm just gonna let this kind of chill out for about an hour or so while we prep some more things on this dish. So the cool thing about this salad to me is its simplicity. Literally anybody can make it, and it mixes all kinds of, not everybody can open that container apparently. As I was saying before I was so rudely embarrassed, this is literally anybody can make this. It's a nice, easy dish to make, and it mixes a lot of great acidic flavors together. I like to over prepare this a little bit because you can eat it like tomorrow, it'll be even better. This is one of those dishes that, like, when it has a minute to kind of sit in its own juices, really kind of pops, you know what I mean? So if you have the time, I'd almost recommend that you do this in advance. Now, I also like to throw a little cucumber in mine. Cucumber is purely up to preference. And I feel like every meal needs a good palate cleanser, you know what I mean? So for these, I want some like longer pieces, you know what I mean? Almost like onion straws, but not too much. So I'm gonna cut them about that long right there. That's kind of how I like that. I feel like it gives a good mix with the other sizes. Now this is a balsamic vinaigrette I made for something else. It doesn't really matter what kind you use, but this is just what I'm gonna throw on in there since I already got it sitting around. I'm gonna get that in there now and kind of let that soak in there and kind of get into those vegetables. We'll let that hang out for a minute. I almost forgot though, there is one secret ingredient I like to use. I call this God Save the Queen. I actually make this myself. And I like to go ahead and drop some of that in there. It's kind of like a Montreal steak seasoning, but it's got those thick pieces of salt, pepper, things like that, different spices. And you just kind of let that roll in there. We're gonna take one more step though. We're gonna hit this with just a little bit of lemon zest. Excellent. So again, we're gonna slosh that around some. Get shit everywhere. That's how I like to do it. Come on. And now we're gonna throw this off to the side and we're gonna focus on finishing out the rest of our dish. Guys, this part of the recipe is also very simple. We're just gonna get a baked potato going. I got my oven over here preheating to 425 degrees. I'm gonna grab a gigantic piece of foil, make as much noise as possible, right? And then I'm gonna commit what may be a cardinal sin, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I love it. I'm gonna use some spray oil, dude. I'm just gonna spray oil this potato down. It's gonna help make it crispy. It's gonna help make that skin nice. I'm gonna go back to that God Save the Queen rub I told you about earlier, and I'm not gonna be afraid to get wild with it here. So great. We got that seasoned. My hand is also aptly seasoned. And then we're just gonna wrap this bad boy up, throw it in the oven. We'll check on this in about 55 minutes. Now we're gonna start prep with our Cornish game hen, right? I'm gonna take some butter, hit it with some of that Creole seasoning. Now I'm just gonna throw this in the microwave and let it melt down. I'm gonna use that as an injection. While I'm letting that melt down, I'm gonna get my Cornish game hen ready. Guys, so a Cornish game hen is super easy, and that's why I chose it, because literally anybody should be able to do this. If you're just one or two people sitting at home, this is plenty for you to have a nice little holiday get together. I've oftentimes, when I was kind of feeling down in the dumps, kind of cooked this for myself. It's kind of a pick-me-up to remind myself of what truly makes the holidays and family awesome, right? So we're gonna cut this onion here. We're gonna kind of cut it into long, thin pieces again, kind of like we did for the salad. Only we got a slightly different purpose this time. Okay, we're gonna cut across here. We're gonna do the same thing with the apple, but we do want to get rid of that core, which we can do. Guys, what we're gonna do, we're literally gonna shove this right up the old poop chute here. What we wanna do is we wanna fill that negative space. We also wanna fill it with things that are gonna create more flavor and more robustness. I got some rosemary, some thyme, and some parsley here. We're also gonna shove that up in there. Oh yeah. I don't know if I should be excited or horrified by what's happening. Yeah, so now we have this all done. We want to flip it over back up, get rid of any pin feathers you might see. And then we're going to go ahead and again hit it with that spray oil. We're going to start off with we're going to do a two kind of seasoned attack here. We're going to use some gravestones. I make this. It's basically a spicier version of SPG rub. We're not going to put so much on here that we add a bunch of spice to the skin, but the pepper will be a nice kick, and it's going to add a little nice color to it. So give it a solid dusting. We want to make sure that we get most of it. I love the color of poultry done right, and that's why we're gonna hit it with some of this Skull and Mortar barbecue rub. I make this. This is my proprietary blend. This is gonna add a nice little sweetness to it. It's also gonna add a richness to those peppery notes because it's got a more well-rounded kind of peppered flavor to it. And we wanna make sure that we get all those sides. Trust me, this is gonna make the color robust. I don't know if you use that word for color or not, but we just did. So we're gonna do the same thing to this side. Again, spray her down. Get inside those wings, we want those crispy. The spray kind of pulls out some of that moisture and allows it to that skin to kind of crackle up and become even better. You know what I mean? Give you that bite through crispy skin. Oh yeah, look at that. Guys, I almost forgot the most important part. What a dummy. I'm all over here trying to think about everything I need to do. for this video and how nervous I am. Oh, let's suck up some of this Creole butter we made. A very little bit apparently. And I like to make sure that I get, oh yeah, look at that swell. That's nice. See if I can do a better job of this go around. And then we also want to get into that wing. There's not a whole lot of meat in those wings, but we do want to try and juice them up so we don't burn them out, right? Hell yeah. And I'm just gonna shoot the very little bit I have left back into the breast. So guys, my workstation is completely trashed. I'm gonna hit this one more time because I did run some of that rub off. So I used to use exclusively like wood offset smokers, but recently I've kind of switched more to the gravity feed kind of smokers. It's a lot easier and it does just as good of a job. I always like to use a charcoal and wood mixture. I feel like we get a solid consistent smoke from the charcoal, and then we get the flavor from the wood. So I like to get this thing good and lit, you know what I'm saying? It's really fairly easy. From here on out, it's pretty much an automated process. All right guys, so right about this point when I'm getting that, ow, damn. When I'm getting my finger stuck in that thing, I like to go ahead and when I got a thick bellowing smoke, I like to go ahead and close it on up, get that fan going, get that temperature going. That's it, we let it get up to temperature and we get the rest of the dish going. Guys, so our baked potato is ready to come out of the oven. We're just gonna set this here for now. So we're just gonna kind of smash that pineapple out, let it get a covering there on the bottom. So we'll go a little lighter on this here. Kind of, again, we want to get a fairly even coating. Then we're just gonna dump the cake on top of that. Guys, you can't, like, I've learned from many dump cakes, it's literally like my favorite dessert to make. I've learned not to skimp on the butter, you know what I mean? $350 degrees, about 45 minutes. So what we're gonna do here now is we're just gonna scoop out the inside of this potato. You do wanna leave enough potato in here to support the walls. We're going to add a little bit of cheese. Now, consequently, you can also add, incidentally, sometimes I put butter in here too. Like I definitely use mostly butter in my mashed potatoes. I mean, that's essentially what we're making right here, right? And these are some bacon bits that I have left over from a dish I made earlier in the week. So I'm gonna throw some of those in there. Now I'm just gonna kind of smash this all together. Now we just load that up nice and thick. Layer that up with cheese now. Now I'm gonna let this kind of hang out on the side a little bit. Bam, dude, this is kind of my favorite part. You get a little hectic, get a little wild. And now we got that covering. So back into the oven, 350 degrees. Ooh, look at that dump cake. Get our Cornish game hen off the smoker. Look at that thing, dude, come on. Look at that. Perfect, legit perfection. All right, perfect. Our buns are looking pristine. Let's get these rolls out of here. Get them the hell out of here. Let's get this guy plated up here. Let's take our delicious, let's get our cucumber and tomato salad here. Let's get it dished up. That pop of color. I like to put it in these little clear dishes here just so it doesn't leak all over my plate. Let's get some of that pineapple dump cake up here. And I always like to flip it over so you see all that fruit, and you want it to look a little rough, I think, because it's kind of like a cobbler, right? It's like a cake cobbler. Let's get that out of there. Bam, dude, come on. Hell yeah. Look at this. So you tell me this doesn't remind you of going over to your grandma's house and having a fat, delicious meal. And we have to top it off with one more thing. Look at this. I'm so excited. It really is the ultimate holiday meal for one. Look at that. Boom. Give it 2 scoops of ice cream. The ultimate holiday meal, right? We have our Cornish game hens smoked to perfection, twice baked potatoes, our cucumber tomato salad, fresh made rolls, and a bomb ass dump cake a la mode. Look at the colors in here. So it's got a nice bit of colors. This dish here is gonna clean your palate. We got all this savory goodness here. We got some umami delight here. Look at this roll. Look at that. It's dense, it's thick, but it's soft. Look at that. That's a thick, dense roll. You could use this to mop up your, it's good. That's a good roll. Let's just, look at that juice. You guys see that? That's literal perfection right there. Look at that. Look at the juice inside the fibers. You're not gonna beat that. I'll make you guys watch me eat one piece. Look at that. Oh. Guys, it's literally a holiday meal, the whole plate just for one person. If that doesn't make your day, I don't know what does. Wow, dude, that Cornish game ham is fire.